You know what separates people who figure out their path from people who stay stuck for years? It's not intelligence, and it's not connections, and it's not even talent. It's data, specifically data that only exists on the other side of action. Hi, I'm Vladimir. Over the past 20 years, I founded a few companies with exits in fintech and aerospace. I've worn every hat: founder and a C-level executive. I've advised over 300 companies and mentor regularly for Techstars and Y Combinator. I share all of this not to impress you, but to tell you something surprising. None of that knowledge came from studying. It came from doing. I spent years trying to figure things out before making moves, reading books, building mental models, and I got nowhere. Then, when I entered into an industry I knew nothing about, within months I understood more about my strength, my market, and my direction than I had in years of thinking. This video is about why doing more doesn't just build skills, it builds intelligence. The kind of intelligence you literally cannot get any other way. Here's a trap that most smart people fall into. We treat clarity like a prerequisite. We think, once I know what I want, I'll take action. So we'll read more books, take more courses, have more coffee chats. We're searching for the insight that will finally make the path obvious. But that's backwards. Sahil Bloom calls this the clarity curve. When you are stuck, you're waiting for clarity. You make clarity a precursor to action. But the relationship is actually inverse. Action creates clarity. Think about this. You can read every book on relationships, you still would not know what actually you want in a partner until you've dated. You can study every framework on entrepreneurship, but you still won't know what business fits you until you've tried something better. Some information simply doesn't exist until you create it through experience. Let me explain why this works. Sahil describes the clarity curve like this. In the beginning, it's painfully flat. You take action and feel nothing, no insights, no breakthroughs, no direction. This is where most people quit. They assume the lack of immediate clarity means they're on the wrong path. But here's the truth. The flat part is the cost of entry. It's necessary. If you keep going, moving, experimenting, trying, failing, adjusting, something shifts. Gradually, and then suddenly. A tipping point where clarity grows exponentially. I think about this like surfing. And I mean this literally because I surfed. Well, 5 times, honestly. But you can watch every YouTube tutorial on surfing technique. You can study the wave patterns. You can buy the perfect board. But when the first time you paddle out, you realize immediately, none of that prepared you for the actual feeling of timing of wave, balancing while it moves under you, reading the water in real time. Surfing knowledge only comes from surfing. Ocean teaches you things no video can. And that's true for almost everything that matters. Here's where it gets interesting. Action doesn't just create general knowledge. It creates knowledge that is specific to your context, your skill, your market, your moment in time. Then that contextual data is worth more than any generic advice. Let me give you a personal example. Before I ran a business in the aerospace industry, I thought I understood it. I read books, watched documentaries, followed the industry news. I knew the players, the history, and the technology. Remember, I have degrees in computer science and computer engineering. I studied robotics. I thought I had a head start. But when I actually started operating in that space, I discovered things no book mentioned. How decisions actually get made in those organizations. Which problems they are desperate to solve versus which ones they just talk about. Where the real opportunities were hiding. What my specific skill set was worth in that specific context. None of that information existed in any book because it was generated by collision of my background with that industry and that specific moment in time. And this is something I see constantly when coaching founders and technical leaders. They want to research their way to certainty before the launch. But the most valuable market insights, they only appear after you start selling, building, failing, experimenting. Action takers don't wait for perfect information. They generate proprietary information by doing. And this part most people miss. Your context is unique. The only way to discover what is possible for you is to start creating data points. Here's what happened next for me. As I operated in aerospace, I didn't learn just about the industry. I learned about myself in relationship to the industry. I discovered which of my skills were common and which ones were rare, which problems was uniquely suited for me to solve and which ones are not. Where I had advantages, I didn't even know exist. My positioning didn't come from sitting down and doing a strength analysis. It came from bumping into real problems and noticing, oh, I'm unusually good at this, and most people here struggle with it. I discovered I had something valuable, the ability to bridge business and technical perspectives that are frequently misaligned. That became central to my work, first as a founder and now as a coach. But I never would have found it by thinking. I found it by doing. That kind of self-knowledge is invisible until you are in motion. Action takers don't figure it out their positioning. They execute. They execute, then discover their positioning. It's like the Rumi quote Sahil ends with, as you start to walk on the way appears. The path does not exist before you walk. You create it by walking. Now, let's talk a little bit about luck. People think luck is random. It is not. Luck is a volume game. The more you do, the more surface area you create for lucky things to happen. More conversations, more experiments, more at-bats. The right idea to collide with the right moment. This is why people who take a lot of action seem lucky. They're not. They've just created more opportunities for luck to find them. I lived this. I went from fintech to spacetech to completely different worlds. Each exit, each pivot, each new venture created new relationships, new insights, new doors. The best opportunities I've had didn't come from strategic planning. They came from being in motion, being visible, putting work into the world. Having advised over 300 companies now, I see this pattern repeat. The founders who struggle aren't the ones who make mistakes. They're the ones who don't make enough attempts. The ones who succeed aren't geniuses. They're the ones who stayed in the game long enough for something to click. Action takers don't hope for luck. They manufacture it through volume. If you're sitting on the sidelines, waiting for your big break, you're not being patient. You're being invisible. Luck cannot find you if you're not in the game. So let's put together this into a system. I call it the action data loop. It's how you stop waiting for clarity and start generating it. Step 1, act before you are ready. Pick something, start project, take a job, launch an experiment. It doesn't need to be the thing, it just needs to be a thing. The goal isn't to get it right. The goal is to start collecting data. This is what I call 0 to 1, transforming an idea into something tangible. Step number 2, pay attention to what the action reveals. What surprised you? What did you discover about this space, about yourself? What information did you gain that couldn't have gotten any other way? This is your proprietary data. Treat it like gold. Step number 3, notice your unique positioning. As you act, you will discover what you're unusually good in this specific context, where your background creates unexpected advantages, where you see things others miss. This is your positioning revealing itself. Step number 4, keep going through the flat part. Remember the clarity curve. The beginning is painfully flat. Most people quit there. But if you keep moving, experimenting, adjusting, showing up, the curve bends upwards. Clarity compounds. Step number 5, stay in motion long enough for luck to find you. The longer you're in a game, the more surface area you create. Luck isn't random. It's math. More action equals more opportunity for unexpected good things to happen. Action takers don't wait for the perfect moment. They create enough moments for one of them to become perfect. And here's the bottom line. You cannot think your way to clarity. You can only act your way there. Every day you spend in analysis mode is a day you've not collected data that actually matters. The data about your context, your positioning, and your possibilities. The people you admire aren't smarter than you. They're willing to stumble more, to generate more data, to stay in the game long enough for clarity and luck to catch up to them. As Rumi said, as you start to walk on the way appears. So stop waiting, start walking. Your clarity is on the other side of the action you haven't taken. If this has resonated, drop a comment below. What's the one action you've been avoiding that might hold the clarity you've been looking for? And if you want help figuring that out, the link to work with me is below. I'll see you in the next video.